This month, DDP is our challenger, so they've kind of run through the 3 people from the Final Resolution 3-way, where he beat Monty, he beat Nash, and now he's wrestling DDP.
A good challenger.
Yeah, again, like those are the 3 guys. They're matches they haven't done, at least in TNA. They're fresh. DDP's a star. DDP still has at least enough left in the tank to have a good match. It's a good pay-per-view main on paper.
On paper.
February 18th, Impact Night Tonight throws the footage of TNA invading the Super Bowl in the Best Damn Sports show from February 4th. So this aired even before Against All Odds, or took place before Against All Odds, I guess. So they're on a stage at a Super Bowl party. DDP said Jarrett would be Nash's bitch at Against All Odds, and then Jarrett hit DDP with a guitar.
Also, first of all, DDP switching sides, because he said the opposite at the press conference.
It's a very good point. He did call him the Queen of the Mountain. And now he's Team Nash.
I don't appreciate this.
He floats with the wind, Diamond Dallas Page.
Bang.
But yeah, Jarrett hit him with a guitar. He actually tried to hit Nash, but then DDP kind of ended up in the way.
I thought it was a good little angle, though, to be fair.
In front of a Super Bowl crowd.
Jarrett's doing a lot of, like, outside media at this point.
They want to push that because they do air the freaking blue collar TV sketch, and there's a fun little bit where one of the people on the show is really putting him over strong, but the way that sounds super forced, and it turns out Jarrett's off camera making him say nice things about Jarrett. It's a good bit.
Yeah. See? Goof!
I was looking very closely because they showed the shot of him hitting somebody on the show with a guitar, and I was like, at what point does he get the splinter in his eye?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He should have worn the glasses!
Yeah, the Slapnuts glasses are very practical when it comes to preventing splinters from eyes.
It's eye protection.
So Dusty comes out later in the show with Tracy and Trinity. He announces that Hardy will face Abyss in a Falls Count Anywhere match. They don't yet give it the Final Assault name. And also announces that Jarrett will defend the title against DDP at Destination X. DDP comes out and he hits the one promo he does this month, which is saying, "It's time," over and over again.
It's better time.
Which you'd have to be disappointed in that you would have hoped the crowd at the pay-per-view itself were like chanting "It's time," but they weren't really.
No, but they were into everything he was doing in the lead-up.
Like when he did the like call and response, because he's like, "It's what?" and they put the microphone out, the crowd would be like, "It's time." All that went pretty well.
Well, like they got to the stage where they were ending his like lines of his promo for him, which was kind of cool.
The crowd, speaking of chants, chanted "Drop the title" at Jeff Jarrett during this segment.
Doesn't get more blatant than that one.
They would like him to lose. They brawl. Jarrett wants to hit DDP with a guitar, but DDP dodges. DDP goes to hit Jarrett with it. New Age Outlaw intervenes. Nash makes the save, allowing DDP to drop Jarrett with a diamond cutter.
Bang.
Dusty Rhodes is pushing for Jarrett to drop the NWA title to Page at the March pay-per-view. There are opposing forces to Page getting the title, though. I wonder who those opposing forces could be. Yet everyone agrees the time has come to shift it away from Jarrett just to freshen up the main event matchups.
That's just that. That's the only reason.
It turns out Dusty did not get his way, but let it be known, Dusty wanted to take the belt off and put it on DDP. Yeah,
but he should have done it the fucking month before.
Oh, Nash?
To Nash, yeah. I'd take Nash over DDP.
I'd take anybody over Jarrett at this stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think DDP would be my answer.
I do find that an interesting political conversation here, though, because Jarrett is obviously minority owner, Dusty is booker, and Dusty is like, drop the belt. And ultimately it comes down to the minority owner wins over the booker.
He's like, no.
Yeah, he does not want to drop the belt, and therefore he does not drop the belt.
Dixie!
That was probably exactly... Dusty wants me to drop the belt!
And then Dusty's like, Dixie! I want him to drop the belt!
Dixie is, by the way, at home at this stage, having just had her child.
Dixie's like, shut up, stop bothering me.
Yeah. These two goofs talking about fucking title changes, and she's like with a newborn child.
Go to Shane Douglas.
The next episode of Impact, February 25, the main event is meant to be DDP versus the New Age Outlaw. DDP's music hits, he comes out.
This is the Outlaw.
Jarrett gets up on the table, DDP goes to meet him, they brawl. Outlaw jumps DDP, Nash comes out, they brawl. Security separates them and let's go off the air. There's a lot of those segments where it's like, two of these guys brawl, the other two guys come out, and then that's all the build.
We call that me and you booking TW.
It is funny when you see like the lazy tropes show up in actual wrestling shows. It's like, oh, they really don't put much more thought into it, do they?
See, my thing has always been like, I'm allowed to do it. I'm booking 18 shows in a row as I play this dumb game. You have a week to think of something else.
Yeah, and like we talked on the last episode about how there are some tropes that thumbs up you can do the whole time, like the All-Star tag match on a go-home show. Like, timeless, do it every time, I don't care.
Good guy finally turns on bad guy and hits him with steel chair and crowd goes nuts.
Yeah, timeless, easy to do, works every time.
Cinema.
It is cinema. It's cinema when Kid Cash and Abyss do it, and it's cinema with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. But so like there are shortcuts you could take that I have no problem with, but also when you see like the same stuff over and over, it's like, guys, I know you have to film 2 of these at this stage, so they're going down to tape 2 1-hour television
they're
shows.
Hour shows.
Yeah.
Like, just spend a couple days just writing down ideas, especially in this current structure that they're going through, where they're not exactly doing multiple pay-per-view stories very often. Like, just sit down and write out a month of one person's story, and then write another person's month of story, then write another person's, and then make them different. You could plan out your whole month in advance and have them be unique and different stories, instead of just going, same thing every time.
And they touched on an actual story here. So earlier in that show, Mike Tenay sat down with DDP, sitting in the entrance tunnel, which I appreciate that they found a unique backdrop for that interview. So they're sitting like backstage in the back of the entrance tunnel, and you can see into the impact zone behind them. Cool shot. So Tenay's sitting there. He asked DDP how he got back into ring shape, where he does a little pitch for, it wasn't DDP yoga at that stage. It was still yoga for regular guys.
Just yoga for the fellas.
Yeah, it became more inclusive as time went on.
You ever done DDP yoga?
I have done DDP yoga.
I've done some DDP yoga in my time.
It's good.
It is good.
It is a good workout. Thumbs up.
Yoga's fun.
So then they pivot to the Jarrett match. DDP talks about how the accumulation of guitar shots he received over his career, particularly in WCW, was what caused his neck to get messed up and cost him millions of dollars, and had to retire and took 2.5 years off his career.
A great story!
Yeah, it's a good, simple, straightforward story where the heel took years off the babyface's career, and now the babyface wants to take the title off the heel. Like,
that's good stuff.
Really straightforward. That should have been the month of television, not all these fucking brawls. And there's a lot of stuff that's like weirdly Jarrett and Dusty related, and he's like, Dusty's trying to get the belt off me, and it's not really about DDP at all. And you have a nice little story here.
Yeah.
So Dusty comes out on the March 4th episode. He actually opens the show saying that Jarrett has to meet him in the ring later in 30 minutes, or he might strip him of the title and suspend him. And I'm like, what?
That sounds like an ending that Jarrett would accept. Like, yeah, strip me of the belt. That's fine.
The weird thing is, later in the show, when Dusty did come out to do the promo, he didn't mention anything about the potential suspension and belt stripping.
I don't know. This all feels very like fly by the seat of our pants, not planned out at this point.
So that segment later, Dusty comes to the ring and he talks about how there will be enemies of Jarrett around ringside for the DDP match in order to maintain fairness. He introduces some of those, the 3 Live crew, where some of them, they come out. He then introduces DDP. Dusty gives him like a big pep talk. He delivers the It's Time line, which then brings out Jeff Jarrett along with his pals, the Outlaw, Chris Candido, and the Naturals. It runs down all brawl ends.
Bro.
It's like Nash, Outlaw, DDP, and Jarrett, they just brawl. That's all they do all month. A footnote, they recorded the segment twice because there were a problem with the brawl the first time. The reason they recorded it twice, with Rhodes, Jarrett, DDP, Zbyszko, and Tim Welsh at first, that one was canned because they basically messed up a guitar shot. The guitar didn't break, but they retaped it without the guitar shot. And without Zbyszko and Welsh as well. Welsh is the person who plays Attorney Daggett.
Daggett's a great fake attorney name.
It's not too bad, is it? I don't like him as a character, but it's a decent attorney name. He, like all things, he just feels very tacked on to the Jarrett act. It's like if he disappeared, the act wouldn't change.
He's no smart Mark Sterling.
He's no Joseph Park.
So many lawyers.
Go home Impact. Mike Tenay introduces Jarrett. Jarrett cuts more of a promo on Dusty than DDP. DDP comes out through the crowd. In a reoccurring trend with all of these Jarrett feuds, Jarrett keeps trying to talk and DDP was like, would you ever shut the fuck up?
Yeah, like that. Everyone says this to him.
He keeps trying to cut them off and everyone's just like, shut up, I'm doing my promo.
Dusty did it, Nash did it.
She's like, dude, shut your mouth so I can do my promo.
And then Jarrett's always like, "No, this is my time."
DDP talked about how the guitar shots cost him 2.5 years of his career, and it is, in fact, time.
It's time.
Turned out it wasn't time. Destination X, main event for the NWA World Championship in a ringside revenge match. Jeff Jarrett defeated DDP to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, it was a match that happened that wasn't very good, especially coming off, the fantastic effort against Nash last month.
Mm. As a man who is, as we talked about on the last episode, very pro-interference, talk me through why this interference match is bad, but the month before was good.
Because this interference match was worse.
You know what? I can't deny the logic.
That's just what it is sometimes. I think the interference being a net positive is more on the actual match itself than it is on the idea of having interference. If you have a match between two good people that has outside interference and story stuff, it's not it can help raise it. But if you're having a bad match and then you put interference on top of it, it can just make it worse.
This was very cluttered interference, wasn't it?
It comes down more simply to just, it was a bad match. The interference wasn't the thing that made it bad. It was a bad match that had interference. So, as mentioned, ringside revenge rules means there's a bunch of people at ringside, both allies of Jarrett and of DDP. So, Tree Life Crew, Monty Brown, the Naturals, and Candido are all ringside along with the Outlaw. And TNA explicitly states, he looks dead down the camera and is like, this is not a lumberjack match. These people cannot get involved. They are only there to maintain law and order. What do? They all fucking get involved. Just do it as a fucking lumberjack. Just do it.
Yeah, and there is a ref bump for the actual run-ins. There's run-ins from Sean Waltman and the Outlaw. But there's a lot of the interference right in front of Rudy Charles. Rudy. Not a great day for you. Yeah, first you're counting pins on people who aren't in matches, and then you're freaking allowing every interference under the sun here. So BG goes to hit Jarrett with a guitar. There's all sorts of interference and nonsense. The match is no good. The match never even settles into being a match, because I think that's the downside of having all those people at ringside. It's just get to the interference. There's no pretense of this even being a wrestling match with all these people at ringside, you know? Yeah, which is just do it. Just have all the run-ins and stuff, because I don't know, I think that could have helped the match, if anything. The problem is, when these two are out there just trying to work, that you're this is dull. Also, there's no cellos. That would have helped. So BG goes to hit Jarrett with a guitar, but Jarrett moves and he accidentally hits Conan, because through the month there's a little story about Wink. BG is dragged away to talk aside by the Outlaw, and the Outlaw's like, hey, we're just reminiscing about old times, and Conan's all conspiratorial. He's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I don't know who the Outlaw is. Oh, sorry, the Joutlaw. Oh, yes. So here, BG accidentally hits Conan with a guitar. We'll hear more about that in a minute. Sean Waltman returns for the first time in a month. He runs off the Outlaw who interfered. DDP diamond cuttered all the goons, and then the smoke had cleared. Everybody was gone except for Jarrett, DDP, and the alpha male Monty Brown. Yeah, and then the alpha male's gonna pounce Jarrett, and he's gonna help DDP win the title. We're gonna finally get the belt off Jarrett. It's gonna be a good moment. That is definitely, absolutely, positively what happened. Monty Brown swiveled his hips and pounced DDP, helping Jarrett retain as Jarrett and Monty embrace, and Jarrett does his dumbass head point to point out how smart and great he is. Monty Brown has turned heel and aligned himself with Jeff Jarrett. My favorite thing about this was in the watch along where I go, oh, Monty's not going to turn heel here, is he? So on the Final Resolution episode, I did say that the worst creative decision in TNA history is Monty losing, which is probably still true. But to compound that, not only does he align with Jeff Jarrett, but he does so by turning heel, is just the absolute dumbest shit. Not only because all we've seen over the last 2 months in particular is that Monty Brown is actually an awesome babyface. Yeah. It's very clear, as a worker, he was a pretty mediocre heel, and he was a really good babyface because he hits big, high-impact, cool moves and cuts awesome promos. So this dude is made to be a babyface. And then you turn him heel, and not only do you turn him heel, you align him with the guy he's been trying to beat for months. It's just such fucking dumb, idiotic wrestling bullshit, nearly certainly entirely concocted in order to keep the hot young babyface challenger away from the paranoid NWA champion who doesn't want to drop his title.
Which actually could be a good story if it had the right payoff.
That's the thing. If they did do that story of Jarrett manipulating Monty and Monty snaps and wins the belt, fine. They didn't. It's just a stupid...
When he hits him in the back with a chair and the crowd goes fucking nuts.
It's just a stupid, pointless swerve for the sake of a swerve, and it just kills Monty.
It's a swerve for the sake of backstage politics, is what it is.
It can't be overstated how much this just kills Monty Brown. And it kills my personal interest in him. Because even after he lost to Jarrett, I was talking about how he did that Team Canada squash that I really enjoyed. Because he just beat the shit out of dudes and he was cool. And now he's just a stupid heel who's going to stand next to Jarrett. As Jarrett does his same promo when he talks about how he's great and no one's on his level. And he loves the NWA title and no one loves the NWA title like he loves the NWA title. And he lives and breathes this and no one else does. And he does that same promo as the crowd tell him to wrap it up and leave, or the crowd tell him to drop the title. And it just kills him. And why would you do this? How could you misread this audience and this guy that badly? How could you look at him, look at his performances over the last 2 months and think heel turn?
See, that's the problem. I don't think that is what they're doing. I think it is simply just a way of keeping Monty away from Jeff.
It's such bullshit. It's such nonsense. It's such useless, terrible booking that should be thrown in the bin because somebody economically doesn't want to drop the belt. Just have DDP lose.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the turn. You can just beat DDP. There's a lot of you could just beat X on this show as well. You can just beat Triton. You can just beat Kevin Nash. You can just beat all these people. Just beat people. You could beat AJ. Maybe not AJ. You said beat AJ on the watch along. I disagree with that one. I'm fine with them not directly beating AJ. But, God, just beat people.